And that was the thing. The car just shut off suddenly when I was driving cruise control on the highway. And when I pulled over, I couldn't start the car anymore. Now I know why. Part of it is because the coil pack got toasted on the front. So the front part of this coil pack melted. That is what happened to the S2000 yesterday. Here's what a coil pack looks like. You pull one of these guys out, and then your spark plug is, inside there. So this engine has 4 of these. This last one that I pulled out, this part had melted, stuck onto the wall, and it was all torn apart. And I'm trying to clean that out right now by using, these tools. I'm trying to wedge that piece out. It's still stuck around there, and I pulled that out, and we'll find out how bad it is. I mean, I do see the spark plug, but it's kind of toasted. The car, I unplugged the battery now, but yesterday I tried to start the car. It cranked, It cranked. Everything was spinning, so there was nothing seized in there. It just kept cranking, and I wonder why would it not start? And that's why, because that one had melted. But also, when that does happen, there's a fuse inside the driver kick panel here. It's a 15 amp fuse. It's called the ignition coil. That got blown, and that's why I couldn't start the car. It's trying to protect you, Don't start the car unless you check this stuff. So once I checked it, I saw that yes, this I'm gonna have to buy brand new ignition coils. You want to see how bad it is? Here it is. See how it got melted away? And once I clean this out, I don't know yet if I can grab the spark plug, but I do see it there. It's kind of toasted, so I'm not sure how I'm going to get that out yet. And when that's all said and done, I'll buy new coil packs, put a new fuse in there, and then start the car and see what happens, and go from there. Okay, that's what I have for an update. Stay tuned for the next episode. I looked at the oil level. Oil looks fine, See that? It doesn't look anything strange, so that looks fine. Coolant levels, still coolant there, so it's not completely low or anything. Alright, I got really close now. If you can take a look there, I've got the coil packed, kind of twisted around. It filled the perimeter of the cylinder here, of this pipe. So I squished around the edges so I could make it move around and jiggle, and then I try to grab it and try to pull it out. I went out to Harbor Freight, picked up some tools to get the job done, because you got to have the right tools. And you can see this here is the ignition coil for cylinder, I think that's number 1, furthest away from the transmission. This part was still seized in there. It was seized against the wall, and like this direction. You can see I pried it together to bunch it up to make it like a butt end of a cigarette. Then I had some pliers and pulled that up. It got halfway, and then I used my hands and gripped it and just yanked it out. Better term is, it's a time saver. I didn't have to go in there and pick each piece out. I just turned on the vacuum, and this by chance fit directly over the ignition coil. I don't know what you call that entrance here, and it just sucked it all up. It sucked it up so hard that it sucked up the spark plug too, because the spark plug had came loose. After all of that, it just came right out, and I took a flashlight, shined inside there, and everything's out as far as I can tell. I pulled out all the spark plugs. You can see that these are the cylinders, the 3 that are looking fine, and they look okay. It was just this number 1 cylinder furthest away from the transmission that had the coil pack get toasted. And before I go buy new coil packs and new spark plugs, I pulled one out and transferred it to this one, to the cylinder 1, just to make sure it would fit, if in case I had any doubts that the thread was failed or anything like that. But it fits. I was able to twist it back in there. So things look promising. I think the engine shut off due to the coil pack burning up here. I read online that what can cause that is if the spark plug backs out, it might ignite inside this chamber and cause this thing to, melt. Later when I get off work, I will go buy new coil packs, new NGK OEM spark plugs, get a new fuse for the ignition coils. That's why the car wouldn't start, but the starter kept spinning. And then we'll fire it up and see what happens. Okay, so in a couple minutes here, I'm gonna start installing the parts that I was waiting on, and I'll show you what those parts are. All right, I'll grab it down here. First, you got to get the NGK spark plugs. These are the OEM spark plugs for the S2000. Here's the part, PFR7G-11S. This is what is used by OEM standards or specs. Then I had to buy 4 brand new coil packs. Even though one failed, it's best just get all 4, and I'll save those other 3 as spares for later. And this is made by Denso. It's stamped made in Japan, and that's a good sign. Here it is, made in Japan. I'm going to put that on the car. Then I'm going to add the fuse, and we'll start the car up. Hopefully it starts up. Let's see. Here, I have 4 of them. So they just turn around this way like that. Slide in. And you can feel it snap onto the top of the spark plug. So I'm going to do that for the rest of them, and then I'll plug this piece in. Or maybe I should plug it in now. Okay. Okay, so all 4 have been put on. And I'll put the fuse on, bolt everything down, plug the battery back in, and we'll get it started up. Alright, we're at the moment of truth. All the parts have been put back in. The new parts, spark plugs, 4 of them, because number 1 cylinder over here got toasted. And then 4 ignition cables, well, ignition coils. 4 of those were replaced, even though the other 3 look to be okay. And I'm ready to go start the car. Here we go. Yes. 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 It's kind of stalling here, but I'll let it go. I'll take it off, but it started. Oh. That's a good sign. It started. So I got the issues to make it start. I'll check the heads here in a second, but I'll stop it for right now and see how it goes. Okay, it was kind of a rough start, that first startup. So I'm going to do another startup, and I'll give it some gas. See what happens, okay? Maybe me pushing the exhaust fumes cleared it out. Now it's calm. I'm gonna let it idle for a little bit. It sounds much better. That first start was a little rough. The second start, it sounds a lot better. And here's what caused it all. We have this coil pack, coil number 1. And see, it's all toasted. This was fried and stuck to the wall. And I had to get a hook and pry and bend this out, and then get some clamps and pull it out. It was stuck in there. Now the car sounds really good. You can see how it got melted. Crazy. Guys, out to help some of you S2000 owners out there. Page 180, if you turn to page 180 of your manual, you can see mine has a new sticker on top of it. I think in the past, I had read on the forums, it used to say torque to 13 foot-pounds, but you can see in the label now it says 18 foot-pounds. Car sounds normal now.